Hello, I'm Jacob, and you are watching the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. Today, we're going to talk about the law of diminishing returns as it pertains to pocket knives, specifically pocket knives that are available on the market in around 2019. Before we get started, please check out the links below for ways that you can support this channel. This channel is not monetized, so I do advertise my own website, Beach and Tactical, where I make survival and tactical gear. I also have an Amazon store where I list products that I endorse, and a Patreon where you can support the channel directly. This knife, the Ritter Hog here, was provided to me through my Patreon, and the Patreon just has incredible effect on this channel. It's really a big deal for me. So please check those out. With that being said, with diminishing returns in any given market segment, at a certain point, spending money will no longer directly equate to getting more performance or value. And the bar in the industry has been shifting rapidly as manufacturers like Hog and Zero Tolerance have been using higher and higher quality materials and constantly improving their fit and finish at a lower and lower price. It's really changing the bar on on your diminishing returns. So we have two empty spots here, a $100 range and a $425 range. The reason for that is, well, I don't have them, but more specifically, it has always seemed to me that the top end of your rate of diminishing returns was defined by Hinderer. Hinderer knives at $425, you would get a absolutely premium steel, excellent fit and finish, craftsmanship, and when you went up in price beyond Hinderer, beyond $425, you did not necessarily get more for your money. You might get something that's a little bit more rare. You might get something from a handmade shop, but you're not necessarily getting something better. And that was, in my opinion, kind of the standard that was set for the very top of what you could get before you would start severely experiencing diminishing returns. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to start at the bottom. This is the Kershaw Link, and this knife is $40. This and the Buck Spitfire probably accurately embody the very bottom of what you can get quality-wise for $40. You have very nice fit and finish. Your blade is nicely centered. The look is very nice. It's made in America. You've got a nicely finished black wash blade. And it's made in 420 HC, which is not the greatest steel. It doesn't hold an edge a really long time, but it's relatively tough. It's quite stain resistant, and it's very easy to sharpen. So if you had $40 and you wanted a good blade, this is about the starting point for where you're going to look. Just above that, by only a few dollars, would be the classic Kershaw Leek or Kershaw Skyline. And again, you've got, I think for the price point, exceptionally nice fit and finish. It's made in America, it works well, and you get a little bit of an upgrade in steel. This is 14C28 steel, Sandvik steel. It's, I think, really good stuff and fairly underrated. There are some downsides though. Your tip is very fine, which is an upside in some ways, but in other ways, it is not the strongest knife. So if you're looking for an everyday carry on a job where you do manual labor, it's not necessarily the best choice. I actually purchased this knife myself for a, this was my kind of fancy pocket knife. I'm not going to spend a lot of money on a fancy pocket knife because I don't often get fancy. But I want something slim and good looking, easy to sharpen, nice fine tip for doing whatever I have to do if I'm wearing a suit. Alright, so this empty space here is around the $100 knife range. What do you think should go in this slot? I would guess that this slot would be taken by something like a zero tolerance 0350. You're getting CPM S30V, a nice powdered steel. You're getting G10 handles, a fairly beefy, well-made knife at about $100. And I believe Spyderco has quite a few knives that would fit the slot as well. In fact, at just above the Kershaw Leek and the Kershaw Skyline, you have the Spyderco Dragonfly at $60 in VG10 steel, which some would say is a little bit better than the 14C28N. I would say they're, in my opinion, they're probably about equal. They both have some trade-offs. But in here, maybe zero tolerance, maybe some nicer Kershaws and CPM 154, stuff like that, kind of raising the bar at the $100 mark from what you get from $40 to $60. Now, to represent what you can get at the $150 range is something that I believe is actually a game changer. This is my Hog RSK Ritter Survival Knife Mark I Generation 2. In 2016, for reasons that I'll talk about in a later video, Benchmade dropped Doug Ritter, probably because he's a conservative and that got in the way of them donating their money to communists. But he had the Benchmade Griptilian in M390 at about the same price, about $150, I believe, $140, $150. That had their glass reinforced nylon scales, which are good, but definitely a step below the Hog's G10. So basically, when Hog took over this design from Benchmade through Doug Ritter, they really changed the standard in the bar for what should be expected for $150. You've got the Hog egg block, which is just phenomenal. You've got bronze washers. You've got M390, which is absolutely a premium steel. It's just really good stuff. At $150, there's a lot of options out there that don't even come close. And so this is really, again, like we're talking about, moved the bar of the rate of diminishing returns down considerably. Some might argue, in some ways, all the way down from $425. In some ways, bringing the Hinderer knife all the way down to this $150 level. Regardless of where you think this knife fits, I think that the $150 knife range has been shook by Hog. Absolutely. But you do have absolutely a step above that, and what we're gonna show here is the zero tolerance Sprint Run 0850 carbon fiber. This is CPM 20 CV steel. I'm not as good with this one. This is actually my dad's and I'm borrowing it. CPM 20 CV steel, which is basically the same as the M390. It's just the American version. And what you're getting with this knife, I think many more could argue, would be just as much as the Hinderer. You've got carbon fiber scales. Your pivot is on bearing, so it is buttery smooth. You've got a titanium frame lock, like the Hinderer. And like the Hinderer, again, you have the 20 CV steel, which is, again, the same as the M390. But now, for the price, look at the detail work you're getting. The machining, the pocket clip, the attention to detail, This knife takes a lot of its design cues from a revolver. So obviously you've got the revolver cylinder and the pivot in the deployment notch. I don't know why my brain's not working. And check out the back spacer on this. The attention to detail is incredible on this knife. So when it comes to rate of diminishing returns between the Hog and this zero tolerance, the Hog is $150, this is $275. The zero tolerance is a larger knife which has value in itself, more time making it, more cost and materials. But your value in that, you do have more expensive materials in your carbon fiber and your titanium than compared to the Hog, but you're paying an extra $125. So how does the zero tolerance compare to the $425 Hinder? Well, Hinder is a smaller company, so you do have that niche, but what extra are you getting for the money? As far as I can tell, basically nothing. So the rate of diminishing returns has been moved back from the $425 range all the way down, some would say to $275. Some would say all the way down to $150. A point at which, when you spend more money, you are not necessarily getting anything extra in functionality. And that's phenomenal. That's what competition is about. I think that zero tolerance and Hog are both great. I think that Kershaw, being owned by the same parent company as zero tolerance, is also great. I think all of these knives represent an incredible value. I wish I had a couple Spydercos to throw in here. I will at some point. But I just wanted to make this video to give you guys something to look at and think about when you're putting your money towards a good pocket knife. Whether to you, a good pocket knife means you're on an extremely limited budget, but you want to buy a good quality knife that you can sharpen easily and that is just nice. Or whether to you, buying a good pocket knife means buying one that is a step above in fit and finish and function, that you're proud to carry in your pocket, and that tickles all of your knife nerd fancies up at this range. It's the bar has certainly been moved, and that's exciting. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Specifically, what do you think? What knife do you think sets the bar at the $100 production pocket knife level for quality and materials? Thank you for watching. Again, please subscribe. I hope that you have a blessed day, and I look forward to talking to you in the comment section below.